from Facebook. He wrote in and he said, as far as video game music, Destiny 1, Bow to No One, is the music played when you gain the newer subclass for your characters. Magnum's a huge Destiny fan. I played a lot of Destiny. The Destiny soundtrack, Destiny is Bungie, which also made all the Halo games. And when they first came on to doing Destiny, you had Marty McDaniel, Marty McDonald, and he basically composed the music for this. And unfortunately, he was let go shortly before the game actually came out. I guess no one really knows the extent of why that happened. I guess Activision was like, why are we paying some in-house composer to just stick around all the time? But he's the best in the business as far as I'm concerned. And his work on Halo moving into Destiny is just incredible. And the Destiny soundtrack, 1 and 2, are just incredible. Even though he's not involved, he worked with he brought on his old friend that he had been working with for even during the Destiny days, has sort of continued on making the Destiny 2 soundtracks, or even the expansions to Destiny 1. But my favorite was this track that came out with the original Destiny called Sepix Prime, I think, when they came out with the Rise of Iron expansion to the first game. They did a remix of it where they brought in Misha Mansour, again from Periphery, that did that one couple tracks for Halo 2 Anniversary. And so it adds this guitar layer to the song that really brings it to light. And it plays during this boss fight with Sepix Prime. And it's just, oh man, every time I play that boss fight and that music kicks in, I'm just like, fuck yes, man. Like, this is my shit. So that's another example. The Destiny soundtrack, absolutely phenomenal. And then Brian, you play Destiny. What do you think about the soundtrack of that?
In particular, Destiny 2. I didn't play the first Destiny, unfortunately, but Destiny 2 I recently started playing back in October sometime, and man, the soundtrack it blows you away. I mean, you're sort of wandering around these kind of strange alien worlds, and you have this, on some planets it might, be this sort of creeping ambient sort of vocal track that swells up into this other. It's something that you have to experience. I would say that, like, as far as video game sort of design goes, I think Destiny 2 really got a lot right. Captures that feeling of being somewhere new and strange, and experiencing things that you haven't before. It really captures that sort of like a modern day version of ray punk, like the sort of atomic age, lasers and explosions and strange aliens, 60s pulp sci-fi covers. The game captures that, and the music just really accompanies that and really helps send it home. And then, for different areas in the game, you have like the sweeping orchestral kind of Halo-esque sort of approach to music. But down on the planets, I mean, it's another experience altogether, just to sort of be in that atmosphere and to be able to appreciate the music with the proper setting, I guess.
Yeah, and I just want to say a quick aside, a quick autocorrect in the middle of the podcast here, because I'm a fucking moron sometimes. I was saying Marty McDaniel and all this other shit. It's Marty O'Donnell. I don't know why he's like my favorite video game composer of all time, and I couldn't even get his fucking name right because I'm a moron. But the other person I was going to mention in relation to that was Michael Salvatore, and he was sort of he was also involved in the Halo. He was brought on after Halo 1 to work with all of Bungie's video game soundtracks as well, and he's the one that's continued on his sort of legacy, which is why you don't really see too much of a change between Marty leaving in Destiny 1 and then the way the soundtrack is now, because they both owned a company together, and they both worked side by side composing a lot of the music. And Marty always gets a lot of the credit for it, but he's kind of the secret ingredient here. And so he's the one that's been able to continue on the sort of legacy because he was helping. Okay, so Destiny and Halo are basically the most iconic video game soundtracks of all time to me. Destiny probably less so now that, I was kind of torn up that they basically let, Marty O'Donnell go, and he hasn't been involved in it. But like I said, Michael Salvatore's been carrying on the legacy, and the sounds and stuff like that are still great. So moving on from here, one of my other favorite soundtracks that I've heard in recent years, which is Killing Floor 2, which I